Greetings, adventurers, and well met, Master of Dungeons here on the Master of Dungeons Twitch channel, twitch.tv/the Master of Dungeons. It is the second Tuesday of July, which means it's time for another episode 4 of Vecna Eve of Ruin. We are playing Vecna Eve of Ruin as a homebrew style game. Having a little bit of fun with this so far. Last episode, our adventurers discovered a little bit of shocking stuff about themselves, who they are, who they thought they were, and who they still are, of course. But perhaps maybe with a different path forward. We must note, of course, that unfortunately Minerva is not able to join us this evening, so we have the players actually not using cameras tonight. That way we don't have to worry about going back through and setting up all the different cameras and stuff. Instead, we have some nice full art of their choosing in place of their cameras this evening. Of course, Blinks is one that will hopefully have a few laughs if you zoom in there on that. I guess Blink was decorating his room at the mask, the Moonstone Mask, where the characters do have rooms currently for a couple of days. They do find themselves in the Tower District of Neverwinter currently, having arrived here the day prior. And trying to find out a little bit of information after a brief excursion, being looking for someone that might have information at a curiosity shop. They were enveloped in a mist and met a strange old lady by the name of Madame Ava, who did some sort of card reading for them. And after that, they find themselves back in the alley near the ruined curiosity shop that they were looking for. But before we begin play, let's go ahead and have everyone introduce their characters yet again for us. So let's go ahead and begin with Agnoth. Make sure to give everyone watching the mechanics of your race, class, and level, as well as any pronouns for your characters. So Agnoth, please begin.
Hello, yes, I'm Daniel. I'm playing Agnoth the Knoll. He's from the Critical Role setting we went through Call of the Netherdeep a while back. He is an artificer, an armorer, specifically level 10. Generally, well, at least in the fighting, but he wanders around with a big stompy robot suit, so to speak. It's not very appropriate for city purposes, so he might not be there at the moment, but that's generally how he does things. He's recently found out he's connected to a certain dwarf who met an untimely fate here, but we are looking into why and where to go from here.
All right, thank you, Agnoth. And then we have Blink.
Blink is not looking at where he's going or why we're here. He knows where he is. He knows where he needs to be. And that is on either side of Captain Renly with both him and his Echo, because Blink, mechanically speaking, is an Echo Knight, and his life is devoted to protecting Renly from all threats, foreign and domestic, and Minotaur.
Thank you very much, Blink. And then we have Captain Renly.
Hey there, folks. I'm Greg, and I play Captain Renly, the very well-protected Captain Renly. I'm a fathomless warlock, Pact of the Tome, and I also came from the Critical Role Call of the Netherdeep setting and book. So my hometown is Nogvarat in the Zemni Fields of Western Wyander, and then found his way over here, and with the revelation of what's going on lately, I don't even know who to say I am, because who knows, really. So yeah, I have a good friend and bodyguard in Blink, and my little spectral tentacle named Stumpy that I pull out every once in a while, but haven't had a need to quite yet. And other than that, yeah, I kind of pretend like I know what I'm doing and talk to people when I can.
Okay, thank you very much, Captain Renly. And we have Das the Blessed.
Yes. So Das is a nearly 7 foot tall Minotaur. Das the Blessed, also known as Das the Best, as he likes to refer to himself. He is a paladin, Knight of Solamnia from the Dragonlance setting, from the land of Ansalon on Kryn. He was sort of sucked out during a particularly traumatic moment and deposited in the sea alongside this clever crew of folks. He is a Oath of Conquest paladin who is sort of trying to figure out exactly what his new purpose is. He, thought of himself as protecting the lands of Ansalon against the hordes of the Dragon Queen. But now, kind of with revelations from Madame Ava, he's wondering if he has a bigger and bester ambition ahead of him.
All right, thank you, Das. And then we have Devana.
Devana is a custom lineage Twilight cleric. She kind of looks like an elf, maybe. Dark ashen skin covered with golden tattoos. But when she walks away from you, you notice she has a tail. So she's not exactly sure what she is, but she does know that her main purpose is protecting this party.
All right, thank you, Devana. And we will be back. Our next session after tonight will be July 23rd. And we're actually going to do a bonus episode on July 30th, the following. So we're going to do two Tuesdays in a row here at the end of the month. So to start tonight's session, the characters again, as mentioned in some of the descriptions and at the beginning of the stream, encountered a strange mist that arose. They found themselves in yet again another foreign land, starkly different from the area that they've come to find out is known as Faerun, where they're at in the city of Neverwinter, and they met with Madame Ava, who gave them a very cryptic reading, discussion about the characters themselves being something known as soul bonds. That were individuals created by the balance for specific purpose, I should say, and maintain the balance of the multiverse. Very similar to a glitched character or a glitched soul, which are variants of one another. And their souls themselves of being a thread from the original soul of a heroic individual. But this portion, this sliver, this thread of which their soul they find themselves is destined for even greater, for a greater heroic deed, as it were. And they have since returned, coming through the mists and fog, finding themselves back in the alley right outside of the ruined curiosity shop. You see Minerva kind of tight-lipped a bit and a look of worry on her face, which you've seen, those of you other than Das, perhaps maybe a bit since you've come to Faerun, but she kind of turns and begins to start working her way into the shop before closing it up, and you see her starting to go around and clean everything up, being very quiet.
So what do we suppose this means we should do next?
Well, we had made a list, I believe. I didn't write it down. I don't normally do that. But we had made a list of things I think we still needed to... we had thought that we would like to get in front of Lord Neverember, but we thought in order to do that, we needed to make maybe a bit of our name for ourselves, and in order to do that, maybe we needed to sign up for the City Watch. I know that was high on the agenda list. I don't think much has changed, even though so much has changed. What does anybody else think?
I mean, you said hi, sir. What about that kind of floating tower thing?
Ah, yes, the floating tower. Devana, I imagine you're particularly interested in said tower.
I do. Now that we know our destinies are here, I think we should get ourselves acquainted with the gods.
I suppose it couldn't hurt. Well, no, that's not true. It could definitely hurt. Oh no, what if it hurts?
It could also help. It could help a lot. It depends on the god, I guess.
I'm gonna leave that up to you, and he thumbs over to Das and that guy. I don't want to... If Adal is over here, I don't want to make anyone jealous.
Gotcha. No, I know you've got very strict rules.
Hmm.
And I think we could, just think about helping Minerva set up her new shop. I know she's off thinking and doing that. So maybe if we find any great knickknacks, we can keep our eye out for her shop.
Yes, I think that's a good idea, and make sure she's okay. Minerva, if everything's okay, say nothing at all. Thank you,
I
Minerva.
mean, Doss over there looks like he'd be very good at helping her clean.
No, I think my duties are to go speak with either this lord or whip these town guards folks into shape. Basically, just waiting out to figure out what exactly it is our mission that we are sent here to do. I need to find something else to occupy my time in the meantime. So that will be where I go. The Blink, you seem to have the mental levels associated with, cleaning. So maybe that's something you could do.
Well, I'm not much of a diplomat. I usually leave that up to Captain Renly because that's his specialty. But just a word of advice: don't bring your duty when you're talking to people.
Well, I
So,
think we all will get roped into helping Minerva eventually.
and she had mentioned something about finding out who had, like, if anything, had anyone had ownership of this place too, and of course, perhaps maybe Castle Never or the Hall of Justice or something like that might have records of. Panda says they love all the shade throwing. Yes, there's a lot of shade between Doss and Blink going on since episode 1, or episode 0, I should say, even with the Nest of the Eldritch Eye. But the idea of perhaps ownership or proprietorship of certain lands and such, it might be different in this realm from your own, but the Hall of Justice might be a good place to check that out as well. Perhaps maybe looking at the House of Knowledge, which you've previously visited.
Yeah, I think these are a great list. I think we should prioritize finding some gainful employment so we don't run out of gold.
But before we go, Minerva, while you're getting things in order, keep trying to get a hold of the kid, would you? We haven't heard from her in a while.
And again, Minerva working on cleaning up all of the dust. If you recall, inside that the shop itself, there was lots of dust, like as if it had not been visited in decades.
Mostly because it hadn't.
Correct. I would note also that Devana, actually, you'd prepared a spell last session that we mentioned talking about Stone Shape, because there was also the mention of some sort of portal or inactive gate or something like that deep beneath the Moonstone Mask that you had also had an idea about investigating as well.
I know our ideas of our future have changed since we talked to Madam. Oops, Devon forgotten her name.
Eva.
The card reader. But it never hurts to check out all the clues we've been given. You
True.
never know where it might lead.
Very true.
To Temple and to sign up for City Watch, then?
Yeah, let's start there.
I believe the Temple's on the way back anyway, so no need to go all this back and forth rigmarole.
Oh yeah, let me go ahead and bring us over to the other screen, which shows everyone our map of Neverwinter. The characters themselves are currently up here in the Tower District, and the Hall of Justice. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Hall of Justice is located down here across the Sleeping Dragon Bridge, very near to the Moonstone Mask, which is out on the small island in the harbor itself.
So they really mean the Tower District, district, don't they, with the floating tower and whatnot?
Yeah, right.
Aptly named.
So to the
Well,
Hall of Justice? Go ahead.
Sorry, that's before the tower then, from where we are?
If you want to head to the tower, you did investigate the tower before, and really, Blink had used his echo to go up a little bit to investigate, and there did not seem to be any way to enter the tower other than there was some steps at the base of the tower, and it did seem to be perhaps maybe a temple to the moon goddess of this realm now.
I think our plan there was for me to come back, or maybe me and Doss to come back and just spend some time in prayer. So maybe
Gotcha.
that's best to do in the evening.
Gotcha. Right, to the Hall of Justice. I'm sure this Hall of Justice could maybe even shed some more light on said tower. Like how to get in, if there's an escalator somewhere. So yeah, and then we can also use the meanwhile at the Hall of Justice.
Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, you should all have access to the party token if you want to be able to move that around. If not, let me know.
nobody but Captain touched that.
Yeah, I was just saying, all yours, Captain Renly.
Well, did my roll 20 freeze up? Because I was like, I still see us on the landing. Oh, nope, there it is. Okay. 1 second. Zoomed in. Where'd you say the Hall of Justice is, Mitch?
Right down here.
Oh, I see it.
Yep.
Thank ya. Over the dolphin, through the winged wyvern, and landing squarely in the Hall of Justice.
I'm going to try something out here. See if it messes up our. It does indeed mess up our thing. Okay, there we go. Fair enough. Approaching the Hall of Justice, it is, of course, located off near the cliff there, overlooking the Sea of Swords in the south bank of the Neverwinter River. Crossing the Sleeping Dragon Bridge, you're able to make your way. You see the structure itself, very gleaming and castle-like. Definitely seems to be some sort of, not only necessarily maybe a hall of perhaps maybe governance, but more like a church built from stone, iron, and wood. There definitely does seem to be a rather large symbol on the outside of the building itself. And you do recall seeing it, Agnoth, in the House of Knowledge, of being that of the deity of this realm known as Tyr, the even-handed.
The God of Justice.
Correct.
Well, Das, this seems to be a military operation here. Would you like to take the lead on this one?
Certainly. Let's see what this kind of place has in terms of justice and honor and duty and all those fun things that I stand for.
Just a gentle reminder: Dragonborn are like allowed, to like exist and stuff here. Just a quick, retread of that.
So I should not be executing my own justice and executing them when I see them.
That is correct. Yes, wise.
Innocent until proven guilty. It's one of those things.
I mean,
Once again, Devana preps and has calm emotions at the ready.
sir, far be it for me to disagree with you, but if he does institute his own justice, that's going to be one less mouth we have to feed here.
And a big one at that. And Renly strokes his chin and ponders the ramifications of such an act.
You wanna shake your head.
All right. Let's just go this down.
We have more than enough resources to go around here, I think.
And now, keep in mind, you've all exchanged your coin as well, including Das with his steel coins, that the map keeper, or the map maker, I should say, judged to be just as valuable as the coin here in the realm. So everyone has been able to convert their funds over, of course. But approaching the Hall of Justice again, gleaming castle-like church. You see that the building itself is so grand. The entrance itself, so large. The doors open to the sea air. It being about a little after midday, making your way over because you had awoken at the Moonstone Mask, had made your way over to the House of Knowledge. You had seen the procession about mid-morning, made your way to the Tower District around the middle of the day, and now it's very early in the afternoon. The doors to the temple itself open wide. The doors themselves to the entrance of the temple stand about 20 to 25 foot in height, and around maybe 15 to 20 foot in width. The two coming together in an arch high above, and both of them open inward into the hall itself. Entering it, as you approach, you see numerous citizens of Neverwinter going about their business in the streets and such like that, making their way to and fro, and you do see a number of acolytes kind of standing at the entrance with parchment and quills and such like that, jotting down people's names and their business when they're coming to the justice, and kind of the Hall of Justice, and kind of directing them in different directions once they enter into the hall itself.
Seems pretty orderly, Das.
So far, so good. But where do we go from here?
Well, we could do the tourist thing and just ask if you don't know where to go.
Das, who doesn't necessarily like to be seen as asking questions or not knowing where he wants to go, basically gestures to Renly that please go ahead if you would like to ask a question.
Nice.
Feel free.
Nice. Do me a favor, Das, and give me a. I don't want to say deception because I don't think Das would be deceptive, but give me a performance check. There we go. Showing that you don't want everyone to note like you're not one to. Oh, okay, yeah. There you go.
14.
Fairly good, yeah. Yeah. So leaves it up to you, Renly.
We're not pulling over. No. As you said, like guards are kind of like coming in and out, and stuff. So I'll just, as I see one coming out, I'll be like, "Pardon me, sir.
Oh,
you look."
You see a few. There aren't guards like coming out of this area. There's mostly acolytes and citizenry. You do see a few guards stationed here and there. They don't bear the mercenary symbols of Neverwinter that you saw, like when the first evening when you had been walking around the city itself. These do seem to be all dressed in tabards bearing the symbol of Tyr as well.
I tap guidance on you as you walk by.
Nice.
Ooh, thank you. Say, pardon me. I have a question for you if you have just a moment of your time, please.
And as you step forward, you see the guard. I mean, standing there, they do seem to have a breastplate with some chain underneath. Each one of them has a shield and a spear in their hands, wearing fairly full helms with some plumes at the top of them. And nearby, you see, dressed in robes, priestly robes, maybe a little bit shorter than average human. Seem to have spectacles on his face. Fairly young, but he does seem to have a bowl cut with like the top of his head bare. and kind of turns with an ink and parchment in his hand and says, visitors. And he takes a step back and kind of looks to Das for a moment and says, ooh, there's been some time since I've seen a Minotaur in these lands, but welcome. You do bear that of adventurers, I must say. Greetings, I am Acolyte Jaren Turnbottle, priest of Tyr. What brings you to the Hall of Justice today? And he kind of takes the parchment and holds it out in front of him, preparing to write.
Yes, we have a grave situation to report. A crime, one might say.
He kind of looks a little bit more tense, a little bit more serious, I should say, at that.
The city of Neverwinter is operating without our assistance. Surely a crime, to be sure. So, as I was trying to get it, don't get
his face does kind of relax a bit, and he pushes his spectacles up. Says, okay. Yes, okay.
Just a little joke. Don't get your scrolls in a bunch. As I was saying, we would like to volunteer our skills, nay, our expertise in the realms of judgment. Adventurers indeed we are, and how we could help this city of Neverwinter enter into an era, yea, an epoch of peace it has never known before.
He kind of looks at you with his eyes wide and says, I see. Well, what can I do for you? What can I direct you then?
Well, so I don't know. I mean, do you just give us badges, or is there a sign-up sheet, or...
Well, I could direct you to speak with the Scrivener. He is the chronicler of the Justicar of the Temple.
A Scrivener. I love a good Scrivener. Yes, absolutely. Point the way to the Scrivener.
Yes, I can take you there. His name is Scrivener Kedmund Janstrik. He is the chronicler of the Justicar of the Temple. The Justicar of the Temple is Justicar Talon Hawkwinter. I would note that if you ever do meet with the Justicar, that be mindful. He was once a Grimjaw. He was wounded in a battle, and now is the leader of the Hall of Justice. And I would warn you that be mindful of his appearance and his walk. He may bear that of being lame, but at the same time, he is extremely. He is very skilled in battle. His prowess known to all those who worship Tyr, and throughout Neverwinter as well.
Not at all, not at all. Oh, dear man, I've forgotten almost everything you just said. I can't help but notice that you have a parchment and quill in your hand. Can you just write it all down and hand it over to this fella? And I'll motion to Agnoth.
And he has been jotting this down, everything about the conversation the whole time. I'll put those names in chat for not only you all, but the viewers as well.
Thank you. Scrivener, Kedmund Janstrik. It's never just Jeff, you know?
And after jotting some information down, he actually indeed does pass a piece of parchment over to Agnoth with that information on there.
Agnoth will keep it for his collection, or evidence board, as the case may be.
Gotcha. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Okay. And he does usher you through. As you enter in, you note that the ceilings of the church itself are extremely high ceilings. So high, in fact, that, and the doors themselves also, you could see that the grand building itself could comfortably accommodate giants, perhaps even space enough for a dragon to rest inside this great hall. As you enter in, marble columns holding up the very high ceilings, but it's very mildly decorated. You do note there's several rooms off of the sides of the hall as you are heading in. You do see that there is a rather large statue of Tyr towards the back of the hall. And there are some doorways off to the right and left of it. Passing through, you do note some of the rooms off to the side are more for worship and daily routines and things like that. You do see a number of small desks here and there as well, where some of the citizenry are chatting with some different clerks and other acolytes and such. And after following acolyte Jaren, acolyte Turnbottle, you're able to make your way past the rather imposing statue into a corridor, and passing through the corridor, he comes to a large wooden door, knocks with a rather large knocker on the outside of it, and after a moment he's here, come in, come in. And he smiles at you and opens the door and gestures for you to enter the room.
I will stride in, like I own the place, which
Fair
I don't.
enough. Entering the room, again, fairly tall ceilings, large stained glass, colored glass behind a desk. You note that there's a number of bookshelves with scrolls and books and different journals and such, all behind a desk where there does seem to be sitting a rather squat individual. Hair very, very stringy behind a small, like a religious cap setting there with a number of inkwells all over the desk, a number of broken quills here and there, piles and piles of paper, and you note that there is also two doors off of this room as well. And go ahead, everyone. Well, you have gnomes from where you're at. It does seem to be a rather elderly gnome sitting behind the desk. The acolyte brought you here. I'm Scrivener Yarnstrick. What can I do for you?
Hold on, sir. 1 minute. Does it look like anyone came in the doors and broke those quills?
You don't know. Give me a perception check then, if you would, Blake.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
Looking around, you don't see anyone other than the gnome.
All right. I'll just...
Yes, Blink, something got your hackles up?
I don't know what that means, sir, but just be careful.
Always. Hello, sir. Sir, my name is Captain Renly Mulfane, and these are the 10 eels. I was just telling young Turnbottle that we would like to volunteer for service, as Neverwinter has never seen adventures of our ilk before, and surely it is in dire need of, I don't know, saving? Rescuing?
As you
Help?
say that, he kind of looks up and harumphs and pulls up another parchment off of a clean stack and kind of looks at your group, and you see him take the quill and he kind of lifts it up and he starts, kind of poking him, almost as if he's trying to count. He goes, 10 of you, eh? Where are the rest?
On leave. We're worried they wouldn't fit in your office. No, it is just a moniker, just a name that we use to describe ourselves. Makes us sound a little bit more formidable. No, there's 10 of us.
I see. Okay, and he starts jotting some information down. Says, Captain, what army did you serve in? Luskin? From the Dales?
Sure.
Where are you from?
Yeah, Luskin sounds good. Yes, we've been more what you might call freelance, and we've delved into the wilds both along coastline and into the depths of the seas and fought monsters and wizards and baddies and things that go bump in the night and all those things.
Adventurous, but you did serve in the Luskin army, you said?
Yeah.
And he starts shouting else. Well, okay. One moment, and he turns around to the bookshelves behind him, and you see he pushes a little lever on his chair, and his chair kind of lifts up, and he turns it around and starts moving a little like handle on the side of his chair that slides the chair back and forth amongst the tall bookshelves behind his desk, and finds a little, pulls out a little box, flips it open, flips through some pages and pulls it out, sets the box back on the counter, uses the little stick to guide the chair back, and then pulls the other lever, and it kind of swivels around and plops back down behind the desk. Says, "Well, fill this out. We'll need your transfer papers and your release and everything like that before we can sign adventurers to help the city of Neverwinter."
Ooh. Paperwork, not my forte necessarily. We were more
as you say that and start to talk, you see him kind of turn one of his eyebrows up, and he kind of glances at all of the different paperwork around him, and then just kind of stares you in the eye.
I just leave. I leave that more to the experts, the more adept at such things. Plus, dear sir, have you never had in your many years a need for a more how you say, off the books group, a group that will take the missions that others won't, danger high enough level and secretive enough that any documentation of it whatsoever could ruin the mission at hand? We're more that type of group, if you catch my drift. And I'll wink.
And he sets the quill down for a moment. Give me a persuasion check. However, this will be a disadvantage, but you do have the guidance still from Devana.
Let us see what happens.
I think at this point, Agnoth is just struggling to keep a straight face.
14. You see him look for a moment, but looks down at the papers. And he says, "Come back at 6 bells. I will set up a meeting with the Justicar for you." And you note that he's looking at each one of you especially Devana with your passive perception of 24. You note that he is looking all of you over almost as if he's looking for something in particular. But Devana, even though you have a passive, give me a perception check if you would.
Will do. Sorry, I lost my sheet somewhere on my desktop.
No worries.
In character, high perception.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. In character, high perception.
Out of character was watching the Twitch channel, and I'm like, where did that go?
You should be able to go into your journal and pop it over. Did you have it on? Did you pop it out? Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah,
okay. No worries. Okay, so 26. You note as he's looking, you wouldn't necessarily know it, see it right away, as it is kind of hidden in his vestments and such like that. But you do note that he kind of adjusted his, like the little cowl he has around his mantle that he wears. Like many priests and temples have like a cowl and a mantle that they wear, like the large deck piece they kind of pull up with their hoods. And you note that he's kind of jostled that a bit, and you note that there's a small pin that he's wearing. The pin itself seems to be made of red and gold. One corner, like the top right corner, the bottom left corner being gold, and the top left and the bottom, the top left and bottom right being red, the top right and the bottom left being gold, and there seems to be a crown in the middle of it.
Does it remind me of anything? I mean, I know what it is here, but does it remind me of anything from back?
Not from home. No, it doesn't remind you of anything from home. But you maybe not something to acknowledge right now at the moment, but you might perhaps maybe share that information with Agnoth, since Agnoth did pour through many of the books in the House of Knowledge, trying to gain as much information about this new realm where you find yourselves. So Agnoth might have come across something of that nature.
I will really subtly tap Agnoth with my tail and gesture in that direction. He knows my tail language. Most people don't.
And is it something I can actually see, or do I
Go
need
ahead
to
and give
be
me a
even closer?
perception. Go ahead and give me a perception check with advantage. A 20. Nice. Yeah, you do catch a glimpse of it, and you do give me a history check, then, if you would. You do recall seeing that emblem in the different parchments and books and such like that when you were going through the House of Knowledge, kind of gaining information about the Sword Coast, the city of Neverwinter, some of the nearby other, not necessarily close, but other larger cities in the area, Luskin to the north, Waterdeep to the south. You did come across that symbol, but you can't really pinpoint where it is. You might think upon it, or maybe even return to the House of Knowledge later to find out what the symbol means. But indeed, he does mention, Scrivener Janstrik does mention, return at 6 bells, and I will have a meeting with you with Lord with Jessica Hawkwinter.
Oh, so it's more of like a over dinner and drinks kind of a meeting. Sure. Well, no, we'll head back to our residence and make sure to purchase a nice bottle of wine to bring along. Thank you so much.
He looks up and says, "The Jessica does not imbibe. Please make sure you've had your meal before you arrive." He goes back down to writing and recording everything on his desk.
Why would we have anybody else's meal?
He looks to Blink when Blink says that, and looks to the rest of your group, and he jots down some other notes.
About how long do we have before 6 o'clock?
Again, it's probably about 2 bells. So when you entered into the hall itself, about 2 bells in the afternoon, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So probably about 4 hours or so.
If I remember correctly, that teleportation circle that was all walled up was really close by here, correct?
You are in the House of Justice, and the Hall of Justice, I should say, and the Moonstone Mask is up here, just to the north. Well, to the north, well, more to the west than the north, down in the harbor. Yeah, so that's where you're staying, actually.
Do we want to check that out and just see what we see for a couple hours?
It couldn't hurt.
I mean, we probably won't be able to figure out how to use it without Minerva, but maybe we could figure out how to get in.
Well, although, I mean, we can absolutely look at it. And oh, yes, we'll see you this evening. Thank you. Bye.
I was gonna say more notes being scribbled on papers.
But I mean, and I'll like kind of whisper and like bow my head a little bit, trying to make sure it's just us over here. It's like, I don't know if are we still looking for a teleportation circle at the moment? I mean, we're supposed to stay here, yes, to deal with the binding.
But it couldn't hurt to understand why it's walled off and what it is.
I suppose not.
I am open to doing other things for a few hours. We could.
No. I just I'm all a dither, I suppose. Of not really. I mean, I think we know some of the steps that we need to take and some of the direction, but we still don't know the looming. I mean, those cards, and we're here for a reason. We don't really know what it is. We're not supposed to leave necessarily, but I guess it's one of the few leads that we do have of any information, so sure.
Well, then again, Minerva would probably know best once we got in, so we could just go have a drink and wait for 6 o'clock. That's fine with me too.
Ooh, we could also see if there's like a office where to purchase land. See if I guess that shop is up for auction or to purchase, or do we just take squatters' rights? I don't know.
Begging your pardon, sir, but morale's pretty important for the troops here. So if we have a few hours to spare, maybe you want to let Devana go visit her parents up on the mountain.
I give a very like placating look to Devana. I'm just like, yes, Blink. I'm sure Devana would relish that opportunity.
I think it's further than a few hours, Blink. I think it's a couple of weeks of a trip. So we
Oh,
really have to set
drat!
about
And then you'd
aside
miss
some
the
time.
meeting, and
Yeah. I think we need to wait to get settled in for that.
I suppose that's where a teleportation circle would come useful, though.
Yeah, agreed. It could have all sorts of uses.
Good point.
That's a good idea.
Yes, so was yours, Blink. Though, don't be discouraged.
I'm not on Blink, sir.
Anyway, and well, I guess I'll start walking out, and like whisper to Devana, is like, he's a dear lad, but whew, my patience some days.
I will distract him with something else someday soon.
So you do have a couple of... Go ahead.
Oh, we did mention, I mean, we are here, the halls. Could we research the property right here?
Sure, you could do so. There are some of the a couple of rooms off of the halls, not only for daily routines and such like that. They do contain some of the property claims and such like that. If you wanted to go in to search those, the acolyte, no, what's his name again? Acolyte Turnbottle. Will definitely lead you over in that area and show you what public files can be researched.
Hopefully it's not too expensive,
tap-
given clearly no one wants it.
Yeah, I tap Agnoth with guidance, assuming that he will lead the investigation.
Sure. Is anyone else going to help or just going to loiter around in the temple itself?
Doss will go look to see if there's any place where these guards or people happen to be training, and look for sparring partners to entertain himself while the rest of them do their research.
Okay. Looking about the Hall of Justice itself, you don't note any place where there does seem to be any sort of guards working or training or anything of that nature here in this the hall itself.
Well, garbage. Let's. Doss has no interest in reading, but he will go along to help out if necessary.
Okay. So let's have everyone give me a group investigation check. Keep in mind that Agnoth, you do have a guidance from Devana.
Okay.
All right, we have two 14s and a 21, which is 3 of you passing. So that is a successful group check. At least half or more of the group passes the DC. That is a success. Looking through, you do happen to find an old deed to this curiosity shop that definitely does seem to be stamped as if it does not have any current. The person that owned it, I believe it was, what was the name? Havland? Was that the name?
I have Hervand.
Hervand, yes, Hervand. Yes, so Hervand did not have any next of kin. And the property itself had been claimed by the city and can be, the deed itself can be purchased for the sum of 500 gold.
Or did he have a next of kin who just came to town? No.
That would be all up to you all.
We do have disguise self in multiple ways.
Fortunately, without knowing what Hervin looked like
I suppose not, yeah.
or anything of that nature, you do note that if it does note on the deed itself that if another business is open there, the business will be required to, as a tax to the city, required to give 2.5% of their income to the city's coffers.
Is that in addition to the 500?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that
Do we have
rate
500?
negotiable?
You're not sure. Doesn't say anything about negotiations on the deed itself. It definitely seems to be very, very well written.
On the above table part of this, I do have, because I carry Blink's money and my money. We do have 500 gold. I don't know what everyone else is looking at as far as funds goes.
Oh, now I looked at my funds. We've got plenty of funds. We should just buy
Right?
it.
I was like, what are you guys
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
You don't have money? What?
Yeah.
No, I actually just had to look.
Oodles and
I mean,
oodles of gold.
Yeah.
If we're short, sir, I'm sure there's a casino around here.
No, I'm about 6 foot. So I'll say it's like, well, I mean, I think we do have the funds, but maybe we could negotiate a smaller rate for the profits to go into the city, getting that we're going to have to spend funds to clean out the wreckage, set up shop, advertise, of course, a new shop opening in the district, and things of that nature. Maybe give that a shot, yes?
Yeah, and we really are helping out the neighborhood.
I agree. We're doing a service. We're not only helping out the neighborhood by opening up a new shop, helping out the economy, but we're pretty much offering to save it from any woes that might come upon it via, armies, dragon or not, Das, or monsters of any kind, or whatever, hullabaloo might be.
It's possible.
As Captain Renly thinks this over and discusses this,
Well,
I will.
keep in mind, Acolyte Jaren Turnbottle is there with you as you're looking
Gotcha.
as you're looking through the documents and such.
Dear
So
young
I assume-
Turnbottle. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Devana.
Yeah, I assume Captain Renly would not have thought that out loud very, very loudly.
Oh no, he could have said that with you see, Jaren is still jotting down information as he's walking with you where you go through the temple and everything.
Devana thinks really hard if she has enhance ability loaded. It looks like she does not, sadly. So I will just tap Captain Renly with guidance.
Absolutely. I'll say, young Turnbottle, we've been discussing the procurement of a bit of property, dear Neverwinter. Make our home, set down some roots, if you will. Show that we're up to the task in joining the soldiers of justice, you might say, here in Neverwinter. But this 2.5% part of the income, I mean, we're talking about taking over a place that is in ruins, stones lined up in a line outside of it like some kind of maniac did it. It's dark. There was a huge fog there. It's not in the best place. We're going to have to clean up. We're going to have to restock. We're going to have to put up advertising. We're going to have to make sure none of the local ruffians come in and rob the place. We're probably going to have to hire some security to make sure nobody loots it until we get an apt lock to put on the door. You understand, 2.5%. I mean, come on. Let's call it 1%.
Unfortunately, sir, I can't say anything about the 2.5. That's just a flat tax for all merchants operating within the city. And everything that you've listed off, and he kind of checks his notes again, listening to having written down everything you've said. And everything you've listed off are just normal expenses that any business owner would have to opening said business. However, go ahead and give me a perception check, or not, sorry, a persuasion check with the guidance. I'll tell you what I can do. I can speak with the treasurers, and I'm sure that we could reduce the initial cost of the establishment.
Yes, that's, I mean, after all, not every business owner is also volunteering to be members of the City Watch and help protect the city and slay monsters and baddies and all things like that. I mean, surely there must be something you can do about this.
I will definitely look into it, sir.
Of course, we'll be back at 6 bells. That's what they call it here. 6 bells to...
He kind of looks at you odd when you say 6 bells. That's what they call it here. And you do see him actually write it down.
Yes, just know in Luskin, they don't have bells. Anyway,
1 second. That sound there means that we do have an ad break coming up here shortly. So before our characters continue on from the Hall of Justice, we're going to take a small little break right here. Go ahead and stretch your legs, use the restroom, grab some snacks, refresh your beverages, and we'll see you on the other side of the ad break. So stick around. We'll be back in a few. All right, we're back on this side of the ad break. Turn my captions back on. There we go. And Minerva did pop into chat there. We see that. That's awesome. Yes, they are currently trying to procure the deed to your curiosity shop at the moment. Minerva was a bit disturbed by by return after your venture into the mists and back out of the mists, and she immediately turned and started to clean the inside of the curiosity shop. Much to the dismay of their companions and their companions, she said she was going to stay behind to work on this and gather herself before getting back together with the companions. So that is where we stand currently.
We're trying to negotiate a better tax rate.
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, Renly was not able to negotiate a better tax rate, but he did get the price. Does have a chance of having the price of the deed to the establishment lowered from the 500 gold that it currently is.
Yes, sorry, got back a little bit late. So how much is it? 5 gold?
No. We're just talking to Minerva in the Twitch chat.
Ah.
She said, "Ha, figures I peek in during a commercial break."
There you go. We miss you. We miss you dearly, Minerva.
Do we have Das's back as well? That's good. How are we doing on Agnoth and Blink?
Here.
Excellent. Blink might be having to take care of the puppies. So did everyone have a fun 4th of July, safe 4th of July? If we had cameras, I'd make everyone show their hands to make sure you have all your fingers. That's what I did for everyone on Sunday's game.
There was somebody in town who had a very bad 4th of July, but it wasn't me. I wasn't setting off fireworks in a parking lot.
Oh, no.
Luckily, people here had sense that it was hot and dry, and we didn't have too many fireworks here, so my dogs did not have to go crazy.
Yeah, that was the fortunate thing that we have with having Callie, my cat familiar, with her being deaf, as we don't have cats scurrying around the house when the 4th comes around, especially this year, because I think at our local fireworks shop it was buy one get 50,000 free. because there's been nonstop
dear.
fireworks since the 4th.
Wow.
No, our dog normally we have to give like a couple CBD treats or something to calm them down, but she did better than she's ever done. Really, she was pretty calm.
Nice, very nice.
So sure, I've got 2 young dogs, a 7-month-old and a 1 year and 7-month-old, which I can't do the math fast enough. So I wasn't sure how they were gonna do, but like I said, luckily people respected hot and dry and did not set off fireworks.
Yeah, yeah. She's Minerva says she's going to blink out in a few. Yes, we decided not to actually go into the next chapter until you were with us. So that would be on the 23rd, and we of course are also streaming on the 30th as well. For those new to the channel, also tomorrow night, Wednesday evenings, we have our Walk Amongst the Plains stream at 7 p.m. Playing some Magic the Gathering Arena. Thursday we'll be in for our at 7 or 8 p.m. We'll be here for Dungeon Delving, which is playing a D&D or D&D adjacent video game. Normally that's Thursdays and Fridays, but this weekend is our virtual D&D weekend, partnered with Wizards of the Coast and Baldwin Games. If you go to tabletop events and look under conventions, you will see the July VDW, which is virtual D&D weekend, where we run online Dungeons and Dragons adventures, sometimes epics, most of them Adventurers League, some of them homebrew as well. So if you have a chance, check that out. I'm sure there's a number of tickets available for a lot of those events. I'll be running games on Friday afternoon, Saturday morning and afternoon, and Sunday morning. So I will not have a stream for Dungeon Delving on Friday evening, but I will still be streaming Lord of the Rings Online on the official Lord of the Rings Online Twitch channel, which is Lotro stream from 7 to 9 p.m. on Friday Eastern time. So if you have a chance to swing by to check that out, we'll be doing that as well. Of course, back next Sunday with our next episode of Fandel from Below the Shattered Obelisk. But it looks like everyone is back here for some more Eve of Ruin. What is your next step? You've talked with Jaren, or you're still there speaking with Jaren in the room with the records. He does mention he will talk with some of the treasury to see if there's a chance to drop the price of that deed from 500 gold down a little bit. But he did mention, unfortunately, the tax is non-negotiable.
Right. Well, I think, Devana, you had said that we could go check out that teleportation circle.
I would note that when you found out about it, you heard it was an inert portal.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
non-working
let's
one.
at least. I mean, I know our destinies have changed, but I think turn every stone.
That is
Literally,
true.
because if I remember correctly, it's also walled up.
That indeed. Keep in mind, you do have a font of information, and not necessarily answers to some of your esoteric or metaphysical questions, but questions about the area. You do still have Sabine, the ghost that inhabits the Moonstone Mask, to ask questions of as well. Minerva, no, they have not gotten jobs yet, but they did find someone with a peculiar badge named Scrivener Kedman Jonstrick that Devana noted that when Renly had mentioned something about like a secret ops type of group that had mentioned for them to come back at 6 p.m. And he would arrange a meeting with Justicar Talon Hawkwinter, the leader of the Hall of Justice.
I filled out the application and I got our first interview.
Oh no! You still have a blank sheet that has all the information about that, getting all of the details of your transfer and your release from the Luskan army.
Yes. Very important stuff. So important, I would hate to mess it up. Agna.
Do you know how to write?
What a silly question. Of course I know how to write. I just think you would do such a better job.
Goodbye, Minerva. Have a
Bye.
great evening.
So as we're having this
And
witty
tied to the
banter,
sheet of paper.
I assume we are walking towards the portal. And out of character,
Yeah, you
Devana
could've-
is just pushing for this so she doesn't have to keep Stone Shape memorized.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
you could have left the Hall of Justice by now too, and of course, Jaren Turnbottle does mentioning that you had would be back at 6 bells. He said that he'd be there waiting for you.
All right, well, we have a couple of bells before we're due back here. Why not break open a wall?
Yeah, so we had a good beat on where it was, right?
Actually, no. It was just mentioned that it was buried, but it had been walled up and buried beneath the Moonstone Mask. What area it was buried, you're not really sure.
I'm sure we can find a ghost to ask for directions.
Yep.
Something people would totally normally do in everyday life.
Yes.
Right.
I'd say as soon as we get back in the Moonstone Mark, we greet Sabine.
You do recall, if you wish to return back to the Curiosity Shop, that Minerva did indeed have a small whistle to call Sabine when needed.
Oh yeah, we
Yes.
should have swung by and gotten that before we went back.
And let her know we don't have jobs yet, but we will soon.
Yeah.
And that, hey, get ready for a 2%, 2.5% tax on all your profits.
I don't know if we want to go back there, though. She's just going to give us that disappointed look.
What's that, Minerva? You sound a little staticky.
Do you like the white
We just
noise?
did-
Do you like the white noise thing when we have someone absent?
Yes,
It
yeah.
makes it very clear. Yeah.
But yeah, you're easily able to get back. You can even send a page, one of the torches, if you recall, the street urchins and such like that ply their trades as torches. You remember that from last couple of sessions?
Oh, right. Yes.
For a silver, I believe it was. But you could also, if you wanted to go yourselves, you could also stop by the House of Knowledge, so Agnoth could perhaps maybe check out that emblem that Scrivener Janstrik was wearing, that emblem on the pen.
Sure. We'd be like,
Yeah.
you want to stop there and we'll go get the whistle and come back?
Sure.
I tap him with guidance and then head over to get the whistle.
Does anyone want to stay with Agnoth? Das, or I'm assuming Blink's going with Renly. Das, do you want to stay back with Agnoth?
Yeah. Doth can stay with Agnoth then.
Okay.
The two non-humans, the two clearly non-human.
one a
Standing
Minotaur, one a Knoll.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Sir, do you need me to stay with him to be a friendly face?
Link, are you going to let me wander these streets of a town we do not know without your protection?
I'm sorry, sir. It won't happen again.
He very cockily just says, damn straight, and keeps walking.
So at the House of Knowledge, Blink, Devana, and Renly can head off to retrieve the whistle, and Agnoth and Das can head into the Hall of Knowledge, or House of Knowledge. Entering in there, again, familiar surroundings. You've been here before. You're able to head into the area that has a history of the region. And with just your passive investigation, Agnoth, you're able to thumb through some of the books that you had previously looked up and had noted that are able to find the symbol that the Scrivener was wearing just under his cowl with a pen, and that would be known as the Lord's Alliance. Reading through, you could find and discover that the Lord's Alliance, also known as the Council of Lords, was a group of merchant cities that kind of banded together in the early 14th century of Dale Reckoning, which is, as you recall, looking through, you kind of got the idea of the how they count the passage of time and how they chart the passage of time here in this world. And you do note that Neverwinter is a member of the Lord's Alliance, as well as the city of Waterdeep, which was mentioned as being nearby. A place known as Baldur's Gate has joined as a member of the Lord's Alliance, plus a city a little bit farther in to the continent itself, a little bit away from the Sword Coast, known as Silvery Moon as well. And that the leader of the Lord's Alliance, you do note that some of the leaders that were listed in the past, and one of them was Dagult Neverember, who is the current Lord Protector of Neverwinter. But the current leader of the Lord's Alliance is a person known as Laryl Silverhand, and it says that she is an open lord of the city of Waterdeep.
Do I get the impression the Lord's Alliance is a relatively small or tight-knit group, or is it relatively big?
You do note that it does mention alliance with some sort of group known as the Harpers, as well as a group called the Order of the Gauntlet.
Right.
But they do seem to be a very lawful good group. However, politics are a main one of the main ways that the Lord's Alliance works.
Right. I'm also, while looking at this, because, after recognizing this whole thing and never ever being involved, trying to work out what the likelihood is that having some kind of professional relationship with this Scrivener might get us a little closer to Lord Neverember.
Perhaps. I mean, he was once the leader of the Lord's Alliance.
So maybe this isn't quite such a fool's errand after all.
And it does mention a passage in just a brief description of the Lord's Alliance that says the Alliance will often hire adventurers to work for them, doing numerous tasks, gathering information, as well as more clandestine types of missions as well, which definitely you can easily ascertain. That's the reason why when Renly had mentioned that type of subterfuge types of things, that he had shown his pen and was what he was gazing as he was looking around at all of you was to notice if any one of you had shown your allegiance to the Lord's Alliance as well. It's not a secretive organization, but at the same time, operatives and such like that, that from what you can read and discover about them, that's probably Janstrik is probably some sort of operative of the Lord's Alliance.
Did Renly just get lucky, or did he actually know about this?
You've been traveling with Ridley for a very long time. You know that he was just lucky.
That's right.
Renly pops his head in just to say that.
I just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
But you're able to get that information. The rest of you are able to get back up to the Curiosity Shop. Minerva still working to clean. She's got a fairly large amount of cleaning done. Still a few days to go, definitely. And then after cleaning the interior, there's going to be, of course, rebuilding all of the, perhaps maybe purchasing some furniture and furnishings to put back inside. But she does, without a glance or mention, pass you the whistle to summon Sabine.
Excellent.
Sorry, Minerva. I had something in my throat and was talking away on mute. Thank you so much. Oh, I do. My arms, they're made for sweeping. You know, I wish I could stay and help, but oh, what? I think I hear Blink calling. Bye.
And after gathering the whistle, you're able to gather back with the party and make your way back to the Moonstone Mask.
Excellent. Let's blow the whistle and talk to Sabine and see if we can find where I need to shape some stone.
Where are you going to blow the whistle to summon her? Back in your quarters?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best.
Okay, that way there won't necessarily be any prying ears or anything like that listening to you that you'll know of. You do recall this place is very well protected magically. You did note that there were many different precautions that were taken, as many of the people that come to the Moonstone Mask are very secretive, and the reasons why they even come there. You do know that some of them come for all different types of comforts in the city of Neverwinter from all walks of life. Um, but yes, you make your way back to the room. Again, rather large suite with, I believe it was 4 rooms off of there, where two of you would bunk in one room, 2 of you in another, and then we had a couple of people that had their own rooms. And after a few short minutes, rising up through the floor, you do see the familiar form of Sabine, the ghost that haunts the Moonstone Mask. Greetings, friends, she says. I heard your call. How can I be of assistance?
Hi, Sabine. We wanted to check out that portal that you mentioned. You said it was underneath here somewhere. We were hoping you could give us more specifics.
Oh, yes, it's been buried there for ages.
Could you take us to exactly where it is?
I could take you to where it's been walled up, but I don't know if you'd have permission to be in that area of the Moonstone.
Who would we need to ask for permission?
Someone check their notes. I'm trying to find. Was it what was the current owner? Start with an M. I was trying to find it in my notes.
Me. I don't see it in my notes. I took notes.
Blink has Renly take his notes.
Let's see. Moscato? No, that's the maps guy.
I think this was one that I unfortunately skipped.
Yeah.
I think his name is Malara, I believe, something of that nature.
That sounds about right.
Marelra. M-R-A-E,
Marelra.
yeah, M-R-A-E-L-R-A. Chantry.
I think I remembered Chantry more than that first name. Let me ask you this. Is there something that Miss Chantry particularly likes or that would make her a little bit more receptive to a request?
I'm unsure of what you mean, she says.
Oh, just if she happened to be a fan of a particular vintage of wine, or if she's a collector of maps and would like to take a look at our map, just something we want to ask her politely for permission to be in the area, and was hoping to, what do they say, grease the wheels, so to speak.
And absolutely not dig up the floor.
And she kind of chuckles at that. She says, Madame Chantry doesn't partake of alcohol, as she views her job here and as the proprietor of the Moonstone Mask she takes that very, very seriously and is very vigilant. I would note that she is very, very, very interested in the arcane arts. Any discussion of such magic in different lands, things of that nature, are very intriguing to her. Perhaps maybe if you share any of that sort of knowledge, that might perhaps persuade her.
Is she in the least curious about the portal herself? Maybe we can just say, can we find out what you've got in your basement?
Well, it's not in the basement per se. I can pass through things, Sabine says, but if I stop, I do have a chance of harming myself. I have never been able to make it through where the portal's been buried.
I like your idea, Agnoth. I think I mean, magic of that sort is not, shall we say, as common as a cantrip. And the idea of the magic that we have in order to remove the wall to get a better look at that, maybe Miss Chantry would relish the chance to be able to investigate further, or let us investigate and share our findings. Maybe that can be an angle that we can pursue.
And another thing, too, that I would really point out is that you have knowledge of magic that does not exist in this realm.
Oh, interesting. But we wouldn't know that. That
No,
wouldn't
no,
necessarily...
you all know
Okay.
that you have magic amongst you. One of you wields magic that is not seen in the realms.
Interesting.
He's probably not bright enough to realize it, but the rest of you might be.
Ah.
Well, yeah. Agnoth can cast invisibility.
That's true.
Everybody in the room
Exactly.
can see that.
Exactly. So, and Blink mentions that to you all.
Yes, let's just ask her if she wants
For
us to.
those watching that might not be aware, Blink is an Echo Knight from Exandria in the Wildmount area, which they do not have Echo Knights here in the Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, let's go talk to the proprietor and see if she'll give us permission.
All right. The lure of magic, stronger than any sweet tooth.
Yes.
I'm assuming she's downstairs somewhere.
Yes, it is getting around now with the trip back to the curiosity shop, making and of course Agnoth and Das at the House of Knowledge, making your way back finally to the Moonstone. You probably about close to 4 or 5 in the afternoon. You probably have maybe an hour and a half or so before you have to be back at the Hall of Justice. But it's starting to get like an early, not really a dinner rush, but a little bit of early patrons coming in for dinner and such like that. Probably actually would be a good time to speak with Madame Chantry.
Okay. All right. As you know, it gets pointed out, I'll prompt with like, Madam Chantry, a moment of your time, please.
Oh, one moment. You see her kind of turning around to some of the other servers that wear, like, again, the sheer black outfits with the masks and such like that, with the moonstones decorated on them. And after taking a few notes and giving some orders to some of the busboys and the cooks back in the back behind the bar, she saunters over to you. How can I help you? Of course, you see the familiar ears of her half-element heritage, kind of sticking out behind the mask, and her dark raven hair as it kind of curls down around her shoulders.
First of all, excellent saunter. I appreciate a good saunter. Thank you so much for coming over.
And she kind of giggles a little bit, and just out of habit seems to like put her hand on the front of your shoulder, just kind of laughing a little bit. Definitely, Devana, with your passive perception, and Agnoth with your passive perception, a little bit of a fake laugh, a bit. She goes, "Oh, Captain, you make me giggle so," she says.
I have that effect on people. Let me tell you what, Madam Chantry, we were actually talking to another one of your guests, one of your residents, shall we say. Um, a young lady who goes by the name Sabine. I believe you're familiar.
I am aware of her conversations with you, yes.
Well, she had let us know. We were just asking about the history of the area and the building, and she had told us about a long inert, long past circle of teleportation that might have been on this locale at some point, and us, and I'll look around at the group, oh, our interests were piqued, to say the very least. We wanted to get a look at it. We're interested in such kinds of magic, but she had said, sadly, it's been walled up for ages, and we thought, well, we have a way of around that without disturbing or wrecking any part of your premises, to be sure. And I said, well, dear Sabine, what could we give Madame Chantry in exchange for letting us poke about a little bit? And someone told me that your sweet tooth has nothing to do with chocolate, but more about some magic, eh? Eh? And I'm like elbowing her just a little bit, kind of coyly.
She kind of caresses your elbow, and you can see her a smile and grin behind the veil. She has kind of like a sheer black veil that kind of hangs down. You can see like part of her eyes from the mask itself, and a bit of her nose, and then she has a veil kind of crossing underneath her nose. And she says, "Arcane knowledge does indeed intrigue me."
Well, listen to this. I can guarantee that we can show you a bit of magic that not only you have not seen, but not another soul in Neverwinter has ever seen.
She
What say you
kind
to
of
that?
looks at you very skeptically. You can see her eyes, even with your passive perception of 10. You can see her eyes kind of look at you fairly skeptically, and kind of looks at the rest of your group.
If I'm wrong, may the gods strike me down and I'll purchase your most expensive bottle of brew.
Tonight, then, she says.
All right. Well, I suppose, we wouldn't want to give this show to just everybody. Is there an office you may have? Or perhaps we should venture down to the area that aforementioned wall exists around this inert power of magic?
We have plenty of private dining rooms here at the Mask. I will arrange for one for us to dine. Shall we say 9 bells?
Ooh. Well, we do have a prior engagement, and I can't say for sure how long that will take. Do-gooders throughout the city were due at the Hull of Justice at 6 bells, and I'm not sure how long that would take. Are you busy now, perhaps?
You see her eyes behind the mask, kind of narrow a bit when you mention the Hall of Justice. Go ahead and give me an insight check. Everyone, give me an insight check. It's not something that she did trying to hide anything. Ooh, nice, Agdoth. Yeah, really, I expected that roll from you. Wait, let me go back to our other screen so viewers can see your rolls as well. Blink, yes, wonderful, normal insight check for Blink. Devana? Nope, dog. She's got dog issues at the moment.
So
My
they get
apologies.
dogs. Yeah.
Agnoth, knowing what the Moonstone Mask does, with its secret nature, they really, you can tell that people definitely when they enter the mask, they obviously come in hooded, things of that nature, until they sit down in the different booths and tables and such before revealing, their identities and such like that. It's a very secretive part of Neverwinter, and mentioning the Hall of Justice probably isn't necessarily something that obviously it's not Rinley's fault in any way, but she probably narrowed her eyes, just kind of intrigued about whether or not you're working for the Hall of Justice and such. And she says, are you employed by the Hall of Justice?
Not so far. We're trying to get in touch with some of the higher ups in the city, and that's the best way we found to get to them.
Oh, you have desire to speak with those higher up in the city? Like who?
Well, if fate looks kindly on us, maybe Lord Neverember himself.
As you say that, she kind of looks her eyes open wide, and she like throws her head back and lets out a cackle, and then she stops for a moment and puts her hand up to her veil and kind of looks around, and you see everyone kind of all of the employees in the mask kind of stop and kind of look at her for a moment, and she kind of stops and she starts chuckling very quietly. She's like, oh, will take a bit of time if you're seeking to go through the Hall of Justice to speak with Neverember.
We thought it might, but we have some time, so
she says,
we're patient, we think.
She does continue on and say they weren't very happy with him taking up residence there in the hall, but he has recently got his own villa, of course, and they have expelled him from their halls.
Mayhaps you have a shortcut to finding Lord Neverember or an audience with them.
There are many influential people that come through the mask. I would not dare reveal their identities to you. But if you seek to work with the Hall, I have noted, of course, and Sabine has mentioned to me that you are very capable adventurers. There are those that work within the halls that would allow you certain privileges within the city that working for the mercenaries and those employed by Lord Neverember would not have.
Well, of course, I understand you have to keep your clientele confidential, as any respectable business owner would, but that's not to say that a chance meeting can't happen between two guests that happen to be staying at the same inn, that maybe happen to be dining in there the same evening, that maybe happen to have aligned interests, so to speak.
And she kind of looks at you. Go ahead, Devon.
My tail flicks out with guidance.
Gotcha. She kind of looks at you for a moment, and you can tell that she's studying you. And then she kind of looks to the rest of your group, and you do note that she does have some sort of recognition, kind of looking about, noting that Minerva is not with you. Of course, the whole discussion Minerva had with Sabine and sitting at your table when you first arrived here, talking about, trying to find contacts and such like that. And she says, well, the group is very eager to plant yourselves firmly within this city, are you not?
Well, no time like the present, as my old man always said, and so we also just don't have a lot of hobbies. None of us are fishermen, or none of us crochet, or take up really any sport. I mean, how else are we supposed to fill our days? You understand.
I see. Well, attend your meeting with whoever you're meeting at the Hall of Justice, and we can move our private dining experience to nightcaps in the same room. I will have it prepared when you return.
Of course. Another thing my old man always said, when talking about minding the chickens, was not to put all of my eggs in one basket. And so perhaps multiple avenues could be pursued at the same time, just to make sure those eggs all stay safe.
She kind of gives you, she gives you a knowing glance, but then also responds with, I thought you said none of you were farmers. And she chuckles.
That's right. And I wink. All right. Bells. Well, it seems as though we've got,
Sir, remember there are no bells in Luskin.
Yes. Not a single one. Not since the great bell burning of 18. No, well, so anyway, I believe maybe we chow down on some grub before heading back to the Hall of Justice. They said to have our meal first.
That indeed they did, and keep in mind that you just normal meals and normal drinks are included when you paid for your rooms, and you paid
All right.
for, I believe, 2 nights to start with, if I recall.
Yep.
Formal is good enough. Last thing I want to do is get a full coma with all the writings Brentley's making too.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'd splurge on a souffle without Minerva.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Right. A light dinner. I'm pretty convinced they're going to ask us out for drinks and a night, after the meeting. It's going to go that well, so I don't want to fill up.
We're going to ask them out for drinks, and I'm imagining just like feuding on the town with our friends from the Hall of Justice.
Who better to paint the town red with, Das, than those who can't possibly arrest you for it?
All right, so you're able to sit down for your meal. Again, early evening, not just before the dinner rush, of course. The dainty fish skewers are very fresh, which are small fishes called silver flashes, skewered and dipped in herbed butter, sizzled over a flame. Of course, they do have a number of mussel and basil soups available to you as well. Some different chowders, turtle soups, some broth, mushrooms doused in butter and garlic sauce, and things of that nature. Some blackberry and apple pie, as well as their normal food as well, normal drinks as well, I should say, with your wine, fire wine, and the ale and cider as well. So you can eat your fill. And when you are ready to head over to the Hall of Justice, go ahead and move the party token there. Does anyone want to do anything or leave anything behind or take time to prepare anything in your chambers before you leave?
Clerics need a long rest to change out spells, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I have a question, Mitch.
Sure.
We've been here for a day or so. We had some detect magic up. Have I or has Agnoth discerned what my necklace is or does?
He could have easily taken a look at the night prior.
I think I did, yeah.
You can again take the time. You can take the time to do so now as well before you head off.
I mean, yeah, no pressure on you, Daniel. I just didn't want to I didn't know if I could use stuff or even want to allude to it if I didn't know yet,
No, you definitely know now. After you arrived in the ocean the morning prior.
Gotcha.
And went through everything from the first couple of sessions. Then had your night where Sabine spoke a lot at length with Minerva and Devana from the room where I believe Devana had Liam's tiny hut in her room set up.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, but just kind of talk from the edge of the doorway. But you were able to discern that it was a necklace of prayer beads. Most of necklace of prayer beads could only be attuned to Devana or Das. But this one does seem to be, because kind of replicating the jewel that you had. Well, I'm talking about you and Renly that's in Netherdeep. Had the jewel of the, was it the jewel of the 3 prayers? it seems to have transformed somehow into this special necklace of prayer beads. So not only can Das and Devana attune to it, but you, Agnoth, and Minerva would be able to attune to it as well. And is able to inform you of what beads are on that necklace, which I believe you have already written down somewhere.
Yeah, definitely have that, and it just means that other than the artificer, I'm the best at accessorizing. All right. Well, dinner and then to the Hall of Justice, and everybody be prepared. We're going to get lots of praise.
Devana feels prepared.
All right. Yes. I'm used to this all the time.
So exiting the Moonstone Mask to make your way across the long walk across the harbor down around the wall into the Protector's Enclave itself. It is getting close to late evening, mid-late evening. You do see the sun. The sky's particularly clear this evening. You do see, of course, a few ships departing, some ships coming in before the harbor pretty much closes at nightfall. And sun, of course, setting to the west over the Sea of Swords, casting the sky with a bit of purplish orange glows here and there. Devana, of course, this time of the evening, feeling very, very peaceful, being a Twilight Domain cleric, and are able to make your way over to the Hall of Justice. And at the entrance, you do see, kind of looking around with a journal behind his back, with a quill in hand, the familiar bespeckled form of Acolyte Turnbottle.
Hail and well met yet again, young Turnbottle. How are you?
Excellent, sir. Excellent, sir. Please, I believe the Scrivener is ready for you.
That's what they think. You're never truly ready for the 10 eels. I'm just joking. I'll clap him kind of hard on the shoulder. Harder than
Go ahead.
what you would think. Harder than what you would think, cordial.
And of course, you do know when he says that he does open the journal and start writing.
Documentation. It's important. I like you, Turnbottle. All right, shall we?
Please, yes, this way. And he does lead you back down to the Scrivener's office, the familiar path through the hall, past the massive statue of Tyr, back into the hall there where you entered Scrivener's office. And you see, again, the familiar gnome behind says, yes. And he does seem to be just finishing up some work for the day. The Justice car is awaiting you. Says, please, this way. And you see him kind of turn around, pull the lever again, and his chair drops down and he disappears behind the desk. After a few short moments, he walks out from behind the desk and walks over to the door. And you note that the door that was off as you entered in, the door that was off to your left, as you get closer, you note that there are two knobs on the door, one about your height and one down low for Kedmond. And he raps on the door, using a knocker about the same area, and you hear a gruff voice, "Enter!" And he opens the door and puts his hand up and pauses for a moment and says, Jessica Hawkwater, the adventurers I told you about earlier have arrived. He says, yes. Send them in, please. And he kind of steps into the room and kind of gestures for you all to follow. And as you enter in, you see a fairly... I don't want to say extravagant, but for this temple, it would be extravagant, as there were the rest of the temple was fairly plain and such like that. But entering this office, you see a number of things on the walls, some different proclamations and such. You do note that there's a rather large scabbard, two-handed sword that rests behind the desk. There's also a fireplace and mantle with a rather large desk made of very hard dark wood, and sitting in a fairly cushioned chair behind it is a rather imposing figure of a human. You do note that cutting across from the right side of his forehead down left across his nose all the way down to the lower left part of his chin is a rather large scar. You do note that his right eye does have a patch over it as well. He does seem to be wearing some sort of ceremonial plate armor. You do note that he does bear a white tabard with the symbol of Tyr predominant in the chest. He also does seem to have some like gold things near his pauldrons that he would wear that does seem to have a cloak that is connected that he wears as well. And he kind of sees you all enter and he reaches over and grabs a cane and steps up and kind of helps himself out of the chair. Says, "Greetings, friends. I hope that is what I can call you. I am Justicar Talon Hawkwinter, former Grimjaw of Tyr, leader of the Hall of Justice. Please have a seat. Janstrik, bring us drinks, please."
See?
He sits back down.
This is finally a moment where Das seems to find someone who actually seems impressive to him and will actually be more prepared to engage this Hawkwinter.
As you kind of do that and kind of step forward, but he kind of stops for a moment and kind of glances at your regalia. I mean, you are a knight of Solamnia, and he says, "You seem to be a fellow knight, but not of any order that I am familiar with. I greet you, Sir Knight." And he kind of takes his arm and puts it across his chest. And you note that the parts of his arm that are open from the bit of the plate armor that he's wearing, you can see that he has his forearm, the guards on his forearms and such like that, but you can see underneath there as he reaches out, he kind of gives you a knightly salute and reaches out his hand to kind of shake it. You can see the underside of his forearm is badly scarred as well, and you can see there's remains of where he might have been burnt at one time.
Yes, greetings, fellow knight. It is an honor to be able to make your acquaintance, and Das will echo back the greetings that Hawkwinter just gave him and say, "Not only from your regalia, but also from your station, as well as your many noble markings of your battles, all demonstrate you as being quite the battle master and man earning of your high station. Tell me, what is your background that you have earned your stripes and such and your knighthood?"
Well, not much I can get into, but perhaps we might discuss such honorifics at a later time. I would definitely be interested in hearing of yours as well, and hearing of your order. But that life, and you can see as he turns his head, he does have a very salt and peppery mane of hair, not extremely long, but you do see a few locks that come about to his shoulders. It is streaked with gray here and there. You do see that there's it's almost white above the temples of his right above his ears. It's fairly stark white, but most of again streaks of gray and salt and pepper throughout his hair is about shoulder length. He says, and he kind of sits back down and he gestures for everyone else to sit down.
Yes.
Would Goose and I clock him as a paladin or more of a fighter?
Give me a religion check. Actually, and then Agnoth, give me a history check at advantage since you were just at the House of Knowledge.
Apparently not reading the right book.
Yeah, Not on this side of the luck.
I will give you advantage, however, Das.
All right.
You can make history or religion, your choice.
Let's do religion. Right. Advantage. 15.
15, excellent. Well, that will be a minor success for DOS, but that sound does mean that we do have an ad break coming up. So the information that DOS will be able to get from looking at Talon Hawkwinter, we will reveal on the other side of the ad break. So go ahead and use the restroom, stretch your legs, refresh your beverages, and we will see everyone and find out what DOS finds out on the other side of the ad break. So stick around. We'll be back in a few. All right, back on this side of the ad break. Having met, been taken, having headed back to the Hall of Justice, Acolyte Jaren Turnbottle escorted you back to the Scrivener, Janstrik, who introduced you to Justicar Talon Hawkwinter at the here in the temple. By looking at him, Das, he definitely seems to have once been a paladin. Whether or not that is currently the case, you're unsure. And you have the idea that when he mentions that he was a former Grimjaw, that was perhaps maybe some sort of honorific title within this church.
Interesting. All right. Well, yes, we have much to share and talk about in our various exploits. I myself was also much a leader among my people in defending my own city, but far from here and for another time. In the meantime, I think more pressing matters that my colleague here, Renly, can probably more accurately speak to in terms of our interest of being of service.
Yes. Janstrik had mentioned something about being skilled adventurers, and he kind of sits back and says, please, everyone, be seated. You have no fear here, he says. And shortly afterwards, you see Janstrik come in, and he does sit down on a small side table, a tray. You see him using a contraption to raise the tray, the small table back up to normal height. And you see that there's a couple of jugs on there and some different goblets and stuff like that. Very plain, mostly made of wood and such like that. And he says, please, help yourselves.
Thank you so much, and good evening to you. Thank you for welcoming us in so kindly. Appreciate it.
Yes, and you see he does reach over and grab himself a glass, a cup made of glass, and he pours some water out of a water skin. And you see him take out of his pouch and takes a small little packet of powder and drops the powder in there and tosses it in a small little waistband. So you have my ear.
Yes.
And as he mentions that, you see the fire from the fireplace behind him kind of flicker. And you note that not only does he wear an eye patch over his right eye, but he is missing his right ear.
Yes. Well, as you must be no stranger to knowing, this world is fraught with many dangers, creatures, abominations, monstrosities of all sorts. What I propose to you, what I offer you to hear today, is that myself, the captain, and my group, the Ten Eels, are up to the task for protecting not only yourselves, but the fair city of Neverwinter. I do not offer you an abundance of steel shields. I do not offer you an abundance of empty well wishes. What I do offer you is a vast array of different experiences. And if I may, I would like your permission to conjure an image of one of those experiences.
He kind of looks to the side a little bit, says, perhaps before bringing magics into play, you might describe what I'm going to see.
Ah, yes. Well, it's one thing to be aware of, they fought a goblin party or some kind of hobgoblin packlord, maybe even a banshee from that might be dangerous. But no, I would like to cut right to the chase, to the heart of the matter, you might say, and give you an example of the vastness of the type of dealings that we've had against the monstrosities and dangers of this world.
Are you going to use some sort of illusion to play it for me?
That is the idea. But before just springing that upon you, I of course am humbling myself before you and asking for consent and permission to do so.
Well, I would ask one thing. You do carry a knight amongst your party. That one, he kind of gestures to Blink, seems very skilled with blades. Do not recognize your symbol, he says, looking to Divana. But you do bear that of a divine caster. The armored one, I'm unsure. Perhaps a knight of a different order, perhaps an artificer from Cattle Keep. Your magics would not show me the truth of anything. Why not state it plainly?
I'm more than happy to state something plainly, but as we all know, soldiers can be just as adept at guarding taverns and directing traffic through the streets and cobblestone ways of a city. A sword on one's back does not prove the adeptness at which they wield it. What I was to show you, and
he
again,
kind of raises his eyebrow when you say that.
Present company excluded, of course, not diminishing any of your honorifics as you so deftly put it earlier in discussion.
The Scrivener goes, and then you see Hawkwinder kind of raise his hand up over and says, proceed. And he kind of, motions his hand towards you.
Over the Scrivener's paper to see if he's running out of space yet.
No, give me an insight. If you would, Agnoth. And Devon, you can too if you want. Oh, Agnoth, nice. A 19 natural roll for 24. You can definitely see that being a Justicar of this temple, he definitely is a kind of a judge, and he's definitely already kind of judged you to be capable. And he almost is humoring Renly as he thinks in some sort of way that Renly perhaps is wanting to show some sort of, we do have skills in magic as well, so he's definitely willing to see what Renly has to offer. At the same time, he kind of shutting Janstrik, not being rude, but shutting him off a little bit from, formal interactions that most people would have with the leader of the temple. Kind of like, hey, we're in this situation where we're just chatting, we're just talking. So go ahead, Renly, and describe what you're going to use with Minor
absolutely.
Legion.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bow my head slightly in thanks for the allowance to do this, and I'm going to cast Major Image.
Okay.
And I'm going to cast as big as the image allows. I know that's not as big as this actual creature is, but I am going to conjure a picture of a death embrace, a very large aquatic creature from the Call of the Netherdeep that we fought in an appropriate time before ourselves were soulbound and brought over here. And this creature is massive, it's huge, mechanically speaking. And I'm imagining not something that they've run into over here. And what I'm doing is to illustrate that we have the experience against more than just a slight uprising of folk. And the more important part that I was hoping to get to here in our experience in dealing with creatures like this is we have no intent whatsoever to sully the good name of the City Watch or the Hall of Justice here in Neverwinter. But the city is large, and sometimes the dealings of the soldiers, the comings and goings, are widely rumored and spoken about in hushed whispers in taverns and alleyways throughout the city. However, if you do have a group that can handle things like this, that have the experience to deal with larger threats that the city folk are not aware of, that the city folk have nothing to whisper about, that allows us to operate at your discretion and under the guise of just being random adventurers in town. What I propose to you is that us, Captain and the Tennials, are that very group that could not only put down any, and he thinks back to the Rokadeck reading of Madaeva and says, anything that might upset the balance of Neverwinter, and doing so without raising a panic in your heavily populated streets.
He listens to you. I mean, you can see that he's definitely giving thought to everything that you said and looks at the image. The one stark thing that you notice is that he may not notice what the creature is, but you do note, especially you, Das, that most people that would see this creature for the first time might, kind of perhaps maybe even give some sort of glance or some sort of, note of what, the size and the scope and the image of this creature. And you notice that he's unflinched by this. And he thinks for a moment, he turns down and he reaches over and pulls out one of the drawers, and you see him pull out a pipe, a small pouch, and he starts packing it in. And the gnome, again, he kind of looks to the scrivener and says, I may not be old by your standards, gnome, but bear with an old man here. I only have so many vices left. And he kind of lights it up and smokes it for a few moments and says, my dear man, you would not be working for the city. I am not charged with the mercenaries. That would be the Galt himself. I am speaking of you working for the Lord's Alliance.
Sorry, that last part cut out a little bit on mine. Speaking of what?
Because I'm speaking of you working for the Lord's Alliance.
Well, I understand that, and my thinking is that the leader of a city has more reason than most for experienced adventures that he can trust to keep things discreet.
I definitely understand that. If you're wishing to join the mercenaries that Lord Neverember have hired as the city watch, this would not be that place. However, working for the Lord's Alliance would grant you a bit more access to different areas of the city that the common mercenary guards would not have access to. But also allow you a bit more information to give to the temple, to the Hall of Justice.
I believe us having the greatest access possible to the city is not only to your benefit, but ours. Or, sorry, not only to our benefit, but your own, as that guarantees the largest margin of safety.
Would you be willing to join the Lord's Alliance?
I kind of look back to the Tennials to see if I get any reaction or like, no, don't do it, it's evil.
Devana's tail. Devana will roll insight.
Sure.
What does she think?
What are you rolling insight for exactly?
I want to see if I think this is a noble cause.
He completely believes it is a very noble cause. Obviously, you can only get what, he is not being deceptive in any way. He definitely has, for lack of a better term, to use a wonderful line from a film, you've been weighed, you've been measured, you've been found not wanting. And he believes that having your group work with Lord's Alliance, of which obviously he is some sort of faction leader here in Neverwinter. You have that knowledge of what the Lord's Alliance is from Agnoth and what Agnoth had discovered when you first seen, Devon had first seen the emblem on Scrivener Jonstrik's coif, basically. And definitely seems to be offering you some sort of admission to this order that is a little bit political, as Agnoth discovered in the House of Knowledge. But definitely, again, it is a lawful good group that does seek to basically maintain order and law and goodness, of course, throughout the region of these different cities, basically city-states. As this area from the maps that you've acquired from the map maker and such like that definitely set this area off more of a city-state area, not really necessarily any sort of kingdoms or anything like that in this section of this new world in which you find yourselves.
Devana's tail will visibly flick that she approves.
Okay.
And seeing that and giving a slight smirk and kind of a knowing look to at least all of the Netherdeep crew, I'll turn back and say, "Splendid. I've always wanted to join an alliance."
Then he kind of looks to Das.
If you think it to be a noble cause, sir, I will commit myself to you and your alliance.
Our goals are, of course, aligned for the greater good and the prosperity of the Alliance and all of the cities within it. Know that when you carry out your duties, you will be representing the Lord's Alliance, and we do expect you to act in such manners. Will you be able to do so?
Well, I'd ask that our anonymity keep in place, as, again, I don't think that your city folk being aware of our comings and goings at all times is a good idea. And I believe that Lord Neverember would agree with that, as they will then have a group that they can call on to do the dirtiest of jobs. You see, I come from an area near the coast, near the water. That means I'm constantly able to wash my hands, meaning I don't mind getting them dirty.
He kind of, you see a thin smile come across his face. Well, there are a number of factions that we work with as well, and we will not be asking you to get your hands dirty. That is what we have those who harp for. He chuckles. I would note that there is another faction that we are aligned with, known as the Order of the Gauntlet. They operate more out in the open than we do. Of course, we are do not shy away from letting those know that we are members of the Alliance. But of course, we would have certain missions for you to accomplish, whether it be for information, investigations, such like that. How's your detective work? He says.
Quite good.
In asking that, you would probably be noticing the entire time Blink has been grappling with a major image in the background.
Some
Quite
of us
good.
specialize in that. Some of us don't, but we give them other things to do.
So you are good at investigation, he says?
Top notch. Oh, sorry, I can't.
We found out you were Lord's Alliance before we came here, so yes.
And he nods at you, then he kind of gives a side-eyed glance to Kedmond. And Kedmond kind of looks at him, with his eyes a little and little narrow. And the Justicar nods his head and says, "Yes, yes. Well, something I want you to get to first thing in the morning. There's a noble that is missing, and we need to find out what happened to him."
Ah, see, and this is exactly the scenario I was talking about earlier. You don't want to spread word that a noble of Neverwinter has gone missing. That would induce a panic, and people would be in the streets, up on their soapboxes, calling out the Hall of Justice for not. We don't need to do that. Any information that is kept in this, say in a book, can be read, can be misconstrued, can be taken out of context, and that's why it's best for those things to be kept, my apologies to the Scrivener, off book.
Yes, we do not want it leaking to the broadsheets that Count John Frey Godwin is missing.
And I'll do the, like, you know, the little motion of, like, lips are sealed and throw away the key. Says, when you contract with the 10 Yields, you not only get discretion, but you get efficiency. I shan't repeat the name of the noble, and our names shan't be in your streets. And I call that a wonderful compromise, and hopefully the beginning of a very successful relationship with each other.
Very well. He reaches over into another drawer, pours it out, and tosses each one of you a pen.
Nice pen, thanks. And I leave. No,
And then once everyone accepts one, he will motion over to the Scrivener, and the Scrivener will bring out a journal and open it up for all of you to sign your names into the book as being members of the Lord's Alliance, representatives of the Lord's Alliance.
Devana will sign.
Doss seems to find this guy trustworthy enough that he will sign.
Likewise.
Captain Renly will mutter a little bit of like, well, I thought I said off the book, and here we are literally signing a book, but okay, all right. And then hands the pen back and says, Blink, if you could just make your...
I've almost got this under control, sir.
Oh, sorry. And I
Drop
dismiss the major image.
Gotcha.
That was close, sir. We haven't seen one of those in this world.
Yeah, Blink, always a jester. He keeps us laughing in those nights out exploring the wilderness. Yes, Blink, if you could make your mark over here in this bit of parchment, please.
And just to be clear, Renly, you were mentioning that the missions were off the books.
If we're off the books, we don't get paid.
I suppose that's true. Greg is just trying to be like, I didn't make a mistake, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, that's good. And then Renly will clap his hands together and say, right, I was told there would be like dessert and drinks, maybe a tour of the town.
Not sure where you heard that.
Well, worth a shot.
I can give you the file, and perhaps you can start on it tonight or tomorrow.
Sounds good. I believe we'll get started toot sweet, as they say.
And he will open up yet another drawer at his desk, and will pull out a number of scrolled up parchments that are in some scroll cases and pass them over.
I very much do the Chris Pine. It's like, yes, this is very important. Thank you very much. Here, hold this, and hand them to Agnon.
Yeah.
Please come back and report to Scrivener Kedman Janstrik once you've finish your investigation.
Will do. And thank you very much for your time and for meeting at the late hour.
He takes a sip of his powdered drink and nods and takes another puff off of his pipe.
Just curious, what you got there? Trying to learn the customs and the interesting drinks of Neverwinter. A certain delicacy we should try?
Nay, just something to aid the ache in these old bones.
Ah, understood. Got it. And I'll give him like a little smirk and a point. And say, all right, I think we're going to tear down a wall and then call it an evening. Well, thank you all very much. I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
When he nods, the Scrivener walks over to the door, grabs the lower handle, opens the door, and will escort you out back to the care of the Acolyte Turnbottle that will escort you out of the Hall of Justice.
I mean, if you have a meeting at night, Devana, you gotta, like, pastries, after a creme de menthe, something. There they are with their pipes and their drinks, and we're standing here with our hands empty like a couple of boobs.
Well, I guess we've learned something about the culture here.
Well, there was a table. There was a table with a tray on it that had glasses for you all to grab any ale or wine that you wished.
I'm adjusting my notes.
As I did describe the Scrivener coming back in with all of that.
Oh, sorry, I missed that part.
He didn't come with a pipe for us, but I don't think too many of us were very put out by that.
There you go.
All right. Shall we tear down a wall? Or I guess ask if that's okay?
We do have to talk about the deed, I think. Was that here? Was that tonight?
Oh, yes. Turnbottle. You still around?
He is standing right beside you as he was the one that was charged with escorting you out of the temple.
Where'd we land on that purchasing of the shop fee? 10 gold?
He does mention
12?
that he says, sir, but we just discussed this earlier today. I'll probably have an answer for you on the morrow.
Tomorrow it is then.
Sounds like we're gonna have a busy day tomorrow. Well, let's get back to our residence, and then we can go tell Minerva we got jobs.
She'll be so proud of us.
I know, right? It makes me feel way better for not sweeping.
Me too.
All right, then. Excellent job handling that death embrace, Blink. We wouldn't have made it out of there alive without you.
You point me at something, sir, and I'll take care of it. Speaking of which, do we have to bring any, finger sandwiches or something to the next meeting?
Apparently. Gosh.
Devana looks Blink over to make sure he didn't hurt himself, that he's not wounded in any way.
Well, he is about to cut a finger off to make a sandwich.
Oh, God.
That's not what they mean by finger sandwiches, Blink.
But you do note, Agnoth, in those scroll cases, that the noble in question's name is Johnfrey Gondaman.
Is it legally prudent to examine them on our way back?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, I might as well do that. Keep myself a little busy on the way back.
You do note that they're from a family that does come from the Blue Lake District. There aren't really nobles. Most noble titles from Neverwinter are mostly from wealthy families that when nobility, and there was actually a king of Neverwinter, which there's not anymore. The Lord Protectorate, actually being Dagalt Neverember, does rule over the city as the protector, not really a king. He does not reside in Castle Never, but he does hold court in Castle Never, and that is where a lot of the things of the majority of the daily things of the governance of the town of the city of Neverwinter take place. As Das was inquiring about that, would be where the town's militia and mercenaries would train. Would be probably at training fields at Castle Never as well. But it seems that Count Joffrey was carousing one evening about 3 to 4 nights ago and did not return to his manor. Some of the local mercenaries that were hired to basically be the city watch of the city did a short investigation, and no one saw. Said that he had left the establishment with a couple of gentlemen talking about going somewhere to gamble, and he hasn't been seen since.
Renly's eyes get real big at the mention of gambling, hoping Blink didn't overhear that.
Well, this is what Agnoth was reading.
Yeah, probably not the time to mention that. Agnoth will probably relate that to the party once we're in somewhere a little less public.
Okay. Oh yeah, you can make your way back to the Moonstone Mask without a problem. About this time, sitting around talking with the Justicar and stuff like that, probably around 9 or 10 bells in the evening. So you do see, obviously, the lamps of the lamplighter's have come through and lit all of the street lamps around the city. Even down on the docks, a lot of the torches have been pulled out. You do see that the lighthouse has been lit, which is actually on the same island that the Moonstone Mask is located as well.
Well, let's find Miss Chandra and talk about a wall.
Okay. When you return to the mask, you are informed that Madame Chantry is waiting for you in a private dining quarters, and you're led back there. Entering in, you see it's very opulently decorated. You do see a number of different sort of treats and things of that nature. Nothing you would have for like a meal, but just snacks and things like that set up. All different types of exotic snacks that you might have had before, might have not had before, on the table, as well as a number of different drinks as well. And she is sitting in a high back chair at the end of the table. My friends, she says, please come in.
Now this is hospitality.
You might be able to hear my familiar in the background. My apologies.
He was a little bit less impressed with the arrangements at the hall.
Like they were stonewalling us. Ugh, gosh. And I'll just take a little snack and pop it into my mouth.
Okay.
I mean, can you believe it?
You had said you had some sort of magic to reveal to me?
Oh, yes. Right. The magic. Well, I believe that the greatest arcane magic wielder of our group is sitting right here by my side, and they have not a trick. A trick is for mere audiences and performances in the street. They have a power, an arcane power the likes of which you've never seen. But before we proceed, if you are sufficiently wowed, would you grant us access to look about your establishment and find the area of where this former teleportation circle is?
I do want to. I'm not sure if you guys have it in your mind that it's a teleportation circle. It's actually a rumored portal.
Where this rumored
Yes.
portal is?
So I don't want you to get down and say, well, we were looking for a teleportation circle. She says, very interesting. I thought that this was an offer and good friendship.
It is, dear Miss Chantry, but of course just one good turn deserves another. I didn't come here merely saying, oh, we're going to sneak behind your back and try and look at this, or hey, please allow us to go look, or I demand that we go look. I wanted to befriend you. I wanted to let you know that we mean you and your establishment no ill will. We simply are curious wanderers, and if we were to not come to you first, what must you think of us?
Agnoth is currently looking very intently at a book.
She replies, what is your purpose? We're looking at some ancient portal that no longer works. It's been inert for centuries.
Ah, yes. Well, you did point out earlier that I think that one of our guests is not with us at the evening. She is the most curious of all. A very curious person who even deals in the business of curiosity. Curios and different objects and magics that may once have been believed to be gone inert or lost their luster. And, well, honestly, we're just curious ourselves and looking to find anything we can. Magic holds many, many secrets, as we're about to show you, and are hoping that even if there's no knowledge to glean from this walled-up portal, there is the off chance that there is something to gain.
Well, I'm not saying that your magics would not be impressive, but if they do impress me, I would like to know how you've come about and come into this magic. If you answer my questions sufficiently, then you have a deal.
Oh no, I don't know about answering questions and talking. I'm terrible at that. Just joking, of course.
Do you have the art of blather? She says coyly.
Yes.
There's lots of nodding heads all behind her.
Devana senses this could go sideways and taps him with guidance.
Every once in a while, I'm expecting it, but every once in a while, I'm not, and I feel like I react like I got goosed. Like,
So, if you agree to that, you show me this magic. You inform me of how you came upon this magic, where you discovered it, and if I'm satisfied, then yes, I will allow you to examine the portal.
what I think is that I can state we will answer to the very best of our ability.
Are you actually? Give me 1 second. I gotta look up something in the compendium. This is going to be excellent for everyone. Well, not so much, but excellent for Das and for Ridley. Everyone, give me a charisma saving throw, if you would, please.
Ruh-roh.
Well,
Are
I
we
haven't
next to
used my
Das?
inspiration yet, so I'll do it now.
Yeah, same. Are we next to Das?
With this, the size of this room, sure.
Yes.
Blink making us all
Okay.
proud.
Devana 17.
Okay, so Devana 17, Agnoth with his +4, Das? Or +3 from your charisma?
Yes,
+3.
+3.
Okay, so a 17 for Devana, a 14 for Agnoth, a 32, for Renly, a 5 with the bonus for Blink, and then a 17 for Das. Renly, I'm going to send you a whisper in game because you are the only one that made your save.
Oh dear. Okay.
Captain's got that riz, doesn't he? Panda says.
Riz for days.
All right. Please, show me your magics, she says.
Well, as I told you, the most powerful arcane wielder of our group is standing right beside me. Blink, would you please produce the duplicate?
Sir?
It's all right.
All right. Blink will focus all of his energy on on the hat and turn into a duplicate of Renly.
Okay. As you do so, you see Madame Chantry kind of glance up and says, "You build this up to show me a hat of disguise?"
And does the blink, barely without opening your mouth, blink. I meant the echo.
Oh, well, sir, you said duplicate, so duplicate means a copy of you because that's what we're all aspiring to do. Oh, okay, yes, sir. And without changing myself from looking like Renly, I will send my echo careening out around the room because it is not bound by such trivialities as gravity.
When it appears, you see the first thing that she does is she kind of jumps back and you see her hold up her hands. And as she does, you see this bluish white radiant flame shoot from her hands and blast it into oblivion. And she kind of steps back a bit shocked at the moment and says, "Apologies. That I was not expecting. Please, can you produce it again? This time, have it be stationary."
Sir?
I look to Blink and I nod.
All right. The echo will gently come out and walk up for inspection.
As you do that, everyone else is skilled with Arcana. Give me an Arcana check. Agnoth. Really, it just seems like she might have produced maybe some sort of Eldritch Blast or something of that nature. But to you, Agnoth, you have seen no magic like she just used to destroy the first echo.
Seems like we might have something we can learn from each other.
And as you're kind of thinking about that, she kind of stands up and kind of walks over and kind of looks around at the echo. And she kind of holds up a finger and says, "Is it tangible? May I?" And she looks to Blink.
I don't know what that means, sir.
That's true. She didn't use the word tangible. And Blink wouldn't know it.
Blink, I think she's asking if she puts her hand to it, will it go through the echo, or is it solid and will stop?
I mean, mechanically, it occupies its space. That's the only guidance they give. So I think it means it's at least semi-tangible.
Okay,
I don't
perfect. Yeah, it would
entirely
be.
know.
Yes, yes.
Well, and it can hit, so I guess it's got some. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to hit her, sir?
No.
She kind of
No.
steps back, and you see that blue-white glow come from her hands when Blink says that. And you say, no. She kind of reaches out, and she kind of touches the echo. Says, remarkable. And you can create this anytime you want.
Oh, sure. It's easy.
Where did you learn such magics?
Oh, back off, Rothold, northern part of the Kryn Empire.
Where's that?
It's on the east coast of Wild Mountain. I mean, don't you have maps here?
A land far away.
You guys are gonna have to stop me. I have no even inkling to bluff. So.
And oddly enough, all of the rest of you, save Renly, don't mind that he just said that. As you are all, Renly knows this, but you're all in a zone of truth. only Renly made it safe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and like, I know that we're not trying to necessarily advertise that.
Very true.
But at the same time, I also I'm aware of what Greg said, that like we're gonna have to stop. We're gonna probably have to gag Blink in order to get him to stop doing something like that.
But when he's finished,
impervious to zone of truth.
Yeah.
When she says that, when Blink says that, she goes, and then Maps, she goes, is that where the rest of you are from? And she looks to Das. Are you from Kryn?
No.
Are you from Kryn as well?
Well, yes. Yes, that is true. And lying.
That's hilarious.
Interesting.
We know we're in a zone of truth. Though,
only if
right?
you make your save.
No, I think you're aware regardless. You just, if you don't make your save, you have to speak the truth, but you can choose not to speak. You don't.
On a failed save, the creature can't deliberately lie. You know whether the person knows whether each creature succeeds or fails. Affected creatures aware of the spell can thus avoid answering questions that would normally respond with a lie. So yeah, that's totally up to you. Sure.
Well, I don't know that I'm opposed to her knowing, but I just wanted to make sure I knew our options.
Yeah. There is an option to remain silent.
We're not compelled to. We're not compelled. We just can't lie.
True. But I would note this: all of your characters would recall the deal she made for you to look at the portal would be to answer her questions about this. And forcing to remain silent, obviously, you're going to be giving away some secrets if you do.
Yeah. Excellent point. Thank you.
Well, and
However,
I said,
you're not really sure if this is going to be good or bad so far. She has been a complete, wonderful hostess to you. You note that she runs a establishment that secrets are part of the trade of her establishment. She's very good at keeping secrets. And she's also given you information, or allowing you to go to try to receive information that you would not get outside of that as well. Go ahead. What were you saying?
What Renly is thinking is that he also answered with, "We will answer to the best of our ability." And what I'm thinking is that if you ask Blink, how do you do that? Or how did you learn it? What's the secret? How do you reproduce it? My thought was he's not really going to know.
Yeah.
Well, he would.
And that's the truth.
He could describe his training, how he came about it, and all of that.
I'll say, we have no reason not to answer your questions, but I do believe that we have been very forthcoming and quid pro quo. You have displayed things that we are not necessarily aware of, and we have not really ventured into our request of simply taking a look at part of your establishment that may or may not have some kind of magic behind a wall.
And on that statement, we're about ready to have our next ad break. So everyone feel free to use the restroom, stretch your legs, refresh your beverages, refresh your snacks, and we will be back shortly on the other side of the ad break. So stick around. We'll be back in a few. All right, we're back on this side of the ad break. And the players know that they are in a zone of truth in a private dining chamber in the Moonstone Mask. asking questions of Madame Chandri, the proprietor of the Moonstone Mask, a very secretive club slash dining establishment where the characters have taken up residency over the last couple of days since their arrival in Neverwinter from their own faraway lands on other planes of existence, and have been showing Madame Chantry the magic of the Echo Knight from the realm of Wildmount, and she's been asking them questions about where it came from. And having asked where it came from, Blink had revealed where he was from, this different area, asking her if they had maps of the region. Agnoth said something about being from a different world, and Das had indeed said that he was from Kryn, but not the same Kryn, since he is from the Dragonlance Kryn. She's kind of looks around, and you see kind of a knowing look on her face, and she said, I knew there was something strange about you when I first met you, when you first came to the Moonstone, to the Mask. Indeed, you are well-traveled and not from this realm, are you? I understand you're seeking information about the inert portal beneath the Mask. My apologies. If I was far from home, I would seek out such information too. Is there anything else you would like to share? I can assure you, many secrets are revealed at the Mask, and I am a very, very astute keeper of such secrets.
You don't happen to know what the portal was for and when it was working, do you?
I do not. I only recently became the proprietor of the Mask, perhaps 20 years ago?
I suppose by some standards that's recent.
I had worked here for some time. You do note again, Agnoth, that she is a half-elf as well. I had worked here for some time as a hostess, and was fortunate enough to have the former proprietor leave the Mask to me, its care to me, in their passing.
Does she still have a hand on the Echo?
No, she's just standing around kind of looking at it up and down.
All right, I am going to swap places with my Echo, and from my new position say, so now can you tell us how to get home?
She jumps back, and you see the flame come from her hands yet again, but recognizing that it's you, she stops, and you see it kind of go dark. And you note also this time, Blink, that also that flame lights up in her eyes as well. Oh, forgive me. Very startling. You can trade places with the duplicate.
Every time I think we've warned you enough, I find out we haven't.
Since we're all in the sharing mood, care to share what, this whole light blue flame crackling thing is? I'm not familiar with that.
Remember, you thought it was, with your check, you thought it was just some sort of Elder's Blast.
Sorry, that's correct.
No worries.
Sir, her eyes lit up too. I think she was going to try to blast me.
I mean, you were just at the Hall of Justice. Come on, I can't make a dad joke every once in a while.
Blank, no one would dare attack you. You're too formidable.
Yeah, but that Death's Embrace did just a couple hours ago. Or, sorry, a couple bells ago, sir.
And a foolish beast it was. Well, Madame Chandra, I believe, for my own part, while I do often speak for the 10 eels, I don't speak for every one of the 10 eels. I would say I just appreciate your continued discretion and silence where your patrons' secrets are concerned.
And she closes her eyes slowly, and you can see the shadow of her mouth beneath the veil open to a wide grin. And she reaches up, and she pulls down the veil, and the beauty of her face is just remarkable. if we were talking mechanically, like a charisma of like 26, something like that.
Golly.
And she says, "Have no fear. I understand being far from home. Sabine and I keep very confidence with one another. If you have questions or need knowledge of the region, do not hesitate to ask either of us. We can inform you of the specifics and facts of our realm. But I do believe I owe you a reward. Please follow me," she says.
All right, let's look at a wall.
And she comes out, and you can see about this time things are winding down in the dining area. You do note that there's, again, as mentioned before, there's another chamber where there's more of a tavern located with the mask as well. That's starting to pick up a bit, and you see her just one moment, she says, and she turns around and she gives some gives a little bit of direction to some of the staff and such like that. And you do note that the dining area is starting to close down. And she leads you back through the kitchens. Again, looking about, you see nothing but males of all different species working in the kitchens as the cooks and such like that. Many of them shirtless as well, with the heat coming from the ovens and such. She leads you back through to a storage chamber. Back there's a door that she pulls out a set of keys, unlocks the keys, and you see a dark stairwell going down, most likely to a cellar. Going down, you do note that there's a wine cellar in this area, as well as a couple of doors leading off of it with storage and such like that. Dry goods, things of that nature, different jars of things needed for cooking in the kitchens above and such. And she leads you back through a couple of these rooms to a blank wall. And she says, "I've never opened this door before. I'm not sure what is beyond. But good luck," she says. And you see her kind of reach into her pouch and pulls out what appears to be some sort of greenish black key. And she feels around the wall, and she stops, and she takes the key, and it just seems to slide into the wall. And she turns it, and with a puff of dust, foul-smelling dust, kind of puffs up from this wall not being opened for some time, and it kind of just slides to the side, like into the wall beside it. And you see, again, a very dusty, cobweb-filled stairwell leading down into the darkness.
And curiosity never got the better of you? Huh. Just kind of can't believe that, like, oh, come on, a door to a potential portal exists, and you didn't go take a look?
And she kind of looks at you and winks and says, "Not all of us have the minds of cats," and chuckles.
Well, let's make like cats, I suppose.
Right? Just make sure that curiosity doesn't tend to lend what happens to the cat in such regards, she says, and she kind of chuckles. So I will wait here for your return.
I'm sure we'll be fine. Well, Blink, a door has been opened, a mysterious one that we're supposed to be cautious about. I don't think I should be going first.
I mean, you're stating the obvious, sir, but of course, you're correct. Oh, does that mean you want me to go first?
I believe if that's okay with you, Blink.
I'm through the door.
There we go.
Just before, as that conversation goes on, knowing that he's headed that way, I will warning bond.
Okay. Blink, you start making your way down. Who's following Blink next?
I gesture for Das.
Oh, Das will hold the back. If he's not going first, he will hold the back.
Okay.
I nod and look to Agnoth to see if he wants to go next or if he wants me to go
Sure
next.
thing. Agnoth will be second.
Okay, then Renly, then Devana, then Das, assuming.
Sounds
Work.
good.
All right, keeping Captain Renly in the middle, well protected. You start making your way down the stairs. You do note Blink in front, and you're able to relay it to your companions. Several spots here and there have crumbled, making it not treacherous, but a little bit of difficult terrain as you travel down this winding staircase that seems to travel down for a while. And at the base, it does open up into a small circular room, completely made of hewn stone. All around you. And do you have dark vision with, I believe you have goggles of night, right?
Yes, sir. I got goggles tonight.
Gotcha.
If anti-magic, I'm blind, but I have those goggles.
No, you're fine. As you get down there, you do note that the room itself has some strange markings on the walls all around it. And there does seem to be some sort of door, set of double doors at the in this circular chamber opposite of the stairs that you come down. Again, cobwebs and dust fill the area.
Since there's clearly no need for silence, I'm going to shout back up the stairs. There's some writings on the wall and a door here, sir.
Excellent.
Thank you, Blink. I'll take a look when I get down.
Excellent. But the place is very, dusty. The thick cobwebs cover most of the writings. You can barely make them out.
I'll start trying to clear them away.
Okay. Any prestidigitation or anything like that can easily start to clean some of them off if you happen to have that.
I do not, but I can at least use my hands.
Sure. Going through, you note that many of the symbols definitely are arcane symbols of some sort. Definitely, you can recognize them as arcane symbols, but they definitely do not appear to be familiar to you, especially from the realm you're from.
This is some ancient stuff. Wonder if it was used for when somebody wanted to get in and out of Neverwinter without being seen. It would be great for that.
Perhaps.
Agnoth, do you still have Minerva's wand? The one that can detect magic?
He did not give it back to her when you came from the mist, so he should have it still on him, yes.
I suppose so, yeah. Okay.
I won't tell her if you won't.
It has rechargeable charges, right?
Yes, it's rechargeable. It's got 3 charges, I believe.
I'm going to use it.
Okay. You definitely detect magic all around the double doors. Definitely the lighting up, protection magics, things of that nature. Give me an Arcana check. A natural 20 for a 33 Arcana. With detect magic up, you do note that the certain symbols glow as you're looking at it, and you're actually able to decipher that there is a pattern to press these specific arcane runes around the doors themselves that should open the doors safely.
Okay, do I get a sense of if there's a sequence?
Yes. And you know what that sequence is. With the detect magic up and that Arcana check of 33.
I'm going to activate it.
Okay. As you do, again, scraping of stone upon stone, a puff of dust comes out. Everyone, please give me a Constitution saving throw. Das is within range of everyone. It is poison, by the way, in case you are resistant to poison.
Oh, yes. I will have Dots has, I believe, advantage on that at minimum. Check. Well.
Your DC was 15, so don't forget to add Das's +3 to your check. Those that failed, you are not affected by any poison damage, but you do have the poison condition until you finish a long rest in a clean air, an open-aired environment that has fresh air in it. Just from as long as this room has been sealed. Opening up. Go ahead.
Sorry, remind me what the poison condition does.
Gives you disadvantage on your ability checks, I believe.
Thank you.
Maybe should be able to look in your journal. And if you look at
attack rolls too.
And attack rolls too, yeah. If you look in your journal, there should be a conditions handout. If you click on that, it should have all the conditions. If you click on poisoned, it will open up a poison handout for you. You have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
Gotcha.
Make that a little easier for you all to check out conditions without having to search them.
Thank you.
But inside the chamber, looking in, it's very dimly lit. But you can see that there are braziers that set around this octagonal room on the inside of these double doors.
And is this is the portal in this room?
You look into the center and you see what appears to be a well.
A well, okay. I'm going to take a closer look at that well and see if I recognize how it works.
As you step into the room, all of the braziers light with greenish flame, casting the room in a green, shadowy light. Looking up, you can see that the ceiling is decorated with numerous stars and constellations all around.
Well, some would like to be dramatic, but it's pretty though.
But you can make your way to the well, yes.
Yeah, I'll see what I can work out about the well. I mean, hopefully more than just its water.
There is actually, when you look into the well itself, about maybe a foot down, there's just solid stone.
Oh, so it's empty.
Yes, but again, as I mentioned, it's just only about maybe a half foot to a foot, and there's just solid stone.
It's not normally how
Any
wells
residual
work.
magic?
You're detecting no residual magic from it.
Huh. If there ever was a portal here, I don't know how it works.
That was random, Devana.
I didn't mean to click it so it showed up. I was
Okay.
trying to read what it did for myself. To see if
Gotcha.
it would
No
be
worries.
useful.
No worries.
Yeah.
Hollow just pops up in chat. What?
Yeah. I was just like, is that going to be useful? And then, yeah.
It would have been really fun if it was something like disintegrate. Like,
But if you want, you could take the time to identify the well itself, if you wanted to, Agnoth.
Right. I don't have that spell prepared, although is it like a ritual or something?
It is a ritual, yes.
I should just double check that I have access to it. I'm not making this up.
You have used it in the past.
Okay. So yeah, I should then. How much? Like, it requires some materials, doesn't it? I think identify was a somewhat more.
You have to have a 100 gold piece pearl that is not consumed in the casting.
Oh, which I will likely have. Okay, I will attempt to identify it then. I will need 10 minutes to do that, but I assume that if we came all this way, that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, and looking about, oddly enough, in all of these constellations all around on the ceiling above you, Devana, you do recognize that there do seem to be some constellations from the skies above Wildmount. Das, you definitely are familiar with the constellations of Kryn because some of them disappeared right before the Dragon Queen's army started her assault on Ansalon. You recognize that some of the constellations are from your world. Some of the constellations you recognize from seeing the night sky here in Faerun. You notice there are many other constellations that you do not recognize. And at the end of the 10 minutes of the identify. You do note that there is no magic in this well, but it does not appear as it normally would if it had magic. But it does appear to be a inert, non-magical well of many worlds.
That is something I'm guessing I recognize as probably taking a considerable amount of magical power to activate, right?
It would definitely take some sort of considerable magic to reactivate it, if indeed it could be reactivated.
A well of many worlds. This is something we can't use yet. It may be a while, but at least we know it's here. This could be useful if we ever have to get back home.
We do have to get back home. Yeah.
And the words of Madame Eva echo in your mind if it's even possible for you to get back home. And the whole concept of the soul sickness enters into your mind again.
This could be the answer of how we got here, even if it's not the answer of how we got back. Or, it doesn't lead. I think we just need to follow our destiny.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and bring the stream to a close tonight, as it is midnight Eastern, a little after, and my wife wants to make sure that we're done because I am in a loft and my voice will echo through the house. So we'll go ahead and call it for tonight, and then we will be back on July 23rd, that Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Great job, everyone. Great job for the players tonight. Awesome. A little applause there. And to our viewers, thank you all so much for watching. And thank you for taking the time to spend your evening, your Tuesday evening with us as well. We will be back again, as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern for a walk amongst the plains, playing some Magic the Gathering Arena. Of course, thank you to all of our supporters, especially our patrons from Patreon. If you'd like to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/masterofdungeons. Subbing here on Twitch, twitch.tv/themasterofdungeons would be helpful as well. We'd love your Prime subs also. Of course, the link to our Patreon page as well as our YouTube channel and all of our social media accounts can be found in the About Us section below here on Twitch. If you would, subscribe to us on YouTube. It is free to do. Like and comment the videos, share them with your friends and family. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Give us some likes, retweets, all of that good stuff. Every sub, like, and share helps us immensely. If you want to stay in contact with us and chat with myself or the players, you can click on the Discord panel below and join the Master of Dungeons community Discord server, where you can help shape an accepting, caring, and inclusive D&D community. The merch store is also open. Anything you purchase from the merch store would directly help support the channel. Again, thanks for watching. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. We're going to raid out to another channel, so stick around for that for a few moments. But until we see you again or talk to you again, take care, and as always, happy adventuring.